Hello, good evening, and welcome to this Education Town Hall. Hello to all of our kids and students and families. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Joshua Vickery, the founder and executive director of CFCArts, joined by our senior director of programs, Mr. Terrence Hunter.
Good evening.
Yay. And our director of education, of course, Leah Prada.
Hi, everybody.
So thanks again for tuning in. So we want to be able to give you an update on what we've been up to here at CFCArts, but also what is coming as we head into the fall. We have done everything we can after we shut our physical spaces down on March 13th to reimagine how we bring the arts to your homes. And so we've done everything we can to keep people creative and connected during this time. And so tonight we want to just give you some general updates about the planning that we're doing, the kind of intentional conversations that we're having about what we can do during this pandemic and how we can do it safely. What are our options? And so we want to be as transparent as possible. We don't have all the answers, to be completely honest, but we want to tell you what we do know tonight. So tonight is going to be really about us giving you updates and sharing, but also giving you an opportunity to ask questions, to give thoughts, to give ideas. So in the chat box, you can let us know questions that you might have. And between the three of us, we'll give you the best answer that we possibly can. I also just want to acknowledge that each of you come to this conversation tonight all in a very different place. We know that the arts are important and they've helped each one of us get through this time. But we also know that there's so much going on in our lives. And so although CFCArts might have been extremely important to you in the beginning of this year, it might have taken a different place at this moment. And we totally understand that. We also know families and parents that it is difficult right now as you're getting ready for school and you're making tough decisions. And I know it's been a hard summer without those in-person summer camps, that we want to be here. We want to be a partner for you. We want to support you and help you. We also know that because of financial situations or furloughs, or maybe your family has been impacted by this sickness, we know that all of us come into this tonight in a different place. So we acknowledge that and we embrace that, and we want to partner with you in this conversation individually as a family. So before we dive into where we're headed, let's just take a moment, if we can, and just a brief look at what we've been up to over the last few months. Bethany, can you roll that video?
What is off?
Unchain my heart, set me free. Unchain my heart.
Someday we'll turn cry. Someday or many time you'll need.
Imagine that all of the following affirmations are true for you right now in this moment.
People make mistakes and people lose their way sometimes.
While other people take their time finding their way back in time.
You have to let go. Bitterness can ruin you.
And in my heart I know loneliness is not alone.
You are unkind, Demetrius. Be not so. For you love Hermia. This you know.
Remember the chorus you were in as a kid? How about your high school marching band? Or maybe it's just that one class you took in college or a summer camp at the local community theater.
his chummy with I can't wait.
It's gonna be so much fun.
And it's going to be so much work.
It's a party.
When Johnny comes marching home again, hurrah, hurrah. We'll give him a hearty welcome then, hurrah, hurrah.
Whatever you wish for.
So Leah and Terrence, I've seen that video so many times, and it still makes me so grateful and thankful for all that CFCArts has been doing over the last few months. And so families, maybe you saw someone you know in that video, but we loved the heroes and villains and the shout out to our Upbeat program. So many neat things that have happened over the last couple months. So again, tonight we're gonna be talking in generalities, just to make sure that you have an idea of where we are in our planning to be able to come back in the fall in a variety of ways. And so first, I want to talk about our commitment to safety. At the end of the day, all of the decisions that we are making, the utmost factor in our decision making is the safety of all of our members and our patrons. And so I want to just walk you through some of those general things that we have decided as a board and as a leadership team and as an organization that we will abide by able to come back. And so on this next slide, you'll see, oh, perfect. Just that our mission still remains true. So our vision is to connect and to serve and to perform, and we're going to have to adapt and adjust to meet the demands of these unique times. Our mission still does hold true. Our team, if we had $1 for every time one of us said pivot or reimagine or innovate over the last 4 months, we would all be very rich people, because that has been our lives. And so we really will continue to do that so that we can make the arts accessible. So we exist to serve and build, we exist to build and serve community through the arts. On the next slide, we're focused on our core values that still guide us: community service, creativity, quality, integrity, bringing you wholesome entertainment or that communication about something that may deviate from that, and inclusiveness. And we're really talking about that right now as an organization to make sure that we continue to be a diverse organization that is embracing and intentional about creating a safe space for everyone. On the next slide, you'll see just some keywords that we've been thinking about and that we've been talking about at CFCArts. And so, well, let's see. I'm not sure if you guys can see it.
I think we just went.
There we go. All right. So there are 4 words that we've been talking about as an organization. Those are safety, flexibility, creativity, and inclusivity. So through our research and work over the past few months, those 4 words have really been our building blocks and really the foundation of our decision making. So several months ago, we put together a reentry working group, and that was made up of staff members and board members who met on a regular basis to look at the latest research, the latest resources, to talk to peer organizations on a local, state, and national level, and to figure out from a performing arts standpoint, what is the best way for our path forward. So our actions and decisions will play to the safety of our staff members and patrons above all. We will design plans that are flexible and adaptable so that we can quickly adjust as those circumstances evolve. We will embrace creativity in all of our programming, finding new ways to connect and perform and champion unique forms of artistic creation and expression. And as always, we will cultivate environments that are inclusive and welcoming, specifically leveraging technology to enable participation both online and in person. Now, we usually define inclusivity as gender or race or socioeconomic status. But now inclusivity also means, do you feel safe coming back to in-person programming? And if you don't, then how do we continue to include you in every step of the way? So inclusivity for us has taken on a whole nother meaning through this COVID pandemic. So on the next slide, you'll see just some of the health and safety mitigations that we are committed to. Now, you've heard these from multiple companies, but we want to translate to you what that means for us. Of course, we've learned that masks make a profound difference. Maintaining social distance guidelines of at least 6 feet is absolutely important. Being outdoors is safer than indoors. And of course, hand washing and sanitizer are very important as we continue to fight this virus. So on the next slide. So how will this affect our members, you, our families, our artists of our organization of all ages? Any members returning to rehearsal or performance for the fall 2020 season, regardless of the program area, will need to sign a waiver stating the following things: that you're aware of the steps that CFCArts is taking to mitigate those risks. And we will articulate that in a very clear way as we roll out definitive plans about our seasons. You will know exactly how you will enter, how you will register, how you will actually execute rehearsals. All of those things will be very clear. That you are aware of and willing to adhere to all of the precautions that we are requiring for you to take, and understand that for the safety of all, we aren't able to. And we'll have to talk through what that means, but we do have to hold everybody to those guidelines. Aware that the exact delivery of the season, in person versus virtual, and any planned performances are subject to change, and that all decisions or adjustments will be in the best interest of the health and safety of everyone involved. So our best plans will be laid out for you, but depending on what happens in our community, we may have to pivot at any moment and either go to virtual or change our programming, and that you'll know and agree to that at the very beginning of the season. And acknowledge and aware of the risk involved and are freely choosing to participate. So then how will this affect our patrons? So for your friends and family members, grandparents, whoever may come and see these performances, if and when they are in person, some of those same things will apply. So understanding the steps that we're taking to mitigate the risk, acknowledging the precautions, aware that performances can be modified, relocated, or canceled at any time due to the evolving nature, and acknowledging that they're unaware of the risks that are involved and freely choosing to still attend. All right, so let's talk about distance. This is one of the things, as we talk about in each one of these mitigation points, these are things that we are committed to as an organization. So let's focus on members, right? This is families, this is all of our students involved in our programs in the fall. All rehearsals and gatherings, regardless of the program area, will be set up to accommodate the recommended physical distance of at least 6 feet between members. So we are going to be in spaces that are large enough to allow our students, in whatever capacity they are taking, to be able to be 6 feet apart at all times. Entrances and exits from all rehearsal rooms will be clearly designated and marked to alleviate crowding or pinch points. Music, plays, shows, and other creative offerings will be chosen with physical distancing in mind as much as possible, potentially leading to smaller casts, unique instrumentation, and really creative rehearsal processes. Leah's going to talk a little bit about her awesome ideas and how those creative processes and creative choices will really help us to with some of these mitigation things that we will be abiding by. So on the next slide, and on all these slides that you'll be able to go back and review later, you'll see that blue really represents our members and our artists, and green really represents patrons. So when you're in that patron role, you'll see how that changes. Mask will be required for all members participating in any person rehearsals or activities for as long as the state or local mandates are in place. Now, we also want to say that once those mandates are lifted, CFCArts still has the right to be able to ask all of our artists to continue wearing masks. If a member can't participate in rehearsal while wearing a mask, they'll be able to participate in virtual or streamed rehearsals. Even if the local mandate is relaxed, masks will be required when arriving, set it up, cleaning up, and any part of the rehearsal that consistently would bring our students closer than 6 feet apart from each other. So that just kind of goes into a little bit more detail about once that mandate could be relaxed, we still will have some guidelines in place around masks. This second point also talks about if you can't wear a mask because you're a brass musician, it's one thing, but also if there is some kind of health concern or just choice that keeps you from wearing a mask, we will ask you to take a virtual option. We won't be able to make any exceptions. Okay, on the next slide, we look at the point of sanitizing. So this just simply says that hand sanitizer will be readily available in all of our rehearsal rooms and near the entrances and exits. We'll be providing sanitizing wipes, and we will be making sure that we fully clean every physical surface that our students are using on a consistent basis. And we will clearly communicate the cleaning and sanitizing procedures of all of our host venues, which at this point, from an indoor standpoint, we are only looking at Calvary to be where we have our students for the fall. On the next slide, technology. So all rehearsal check-in processes will be digital. So that's definitely different for our check-in on Monday nights, or for troop on different nights, or YO on Sundays. We'll be doing all of that online, so there'll be no reason to check in and have any kind of crowding as you come to rehearsal. You can go right to your rehearsal spot. Music scripts and other materials will be distributed electronically when possible. And virtual rehearsals will be offered in tandem with in-person rehearsals so that everyone has the option to stay engaged. Virtual, streamed, and unique hybrid performance opportunities will be explored, and the technology can be allowed to have our members participate. So Leah will also talk a little bit about this, but we are committed to making sure every child and every student can participate in our programs. So if and when it's time for us to go to in-person and you feel comfortable doing that, we will make sure you feel safe in those spaces. Secondly, we will always offer a virtual option of that rehearsal so that if you aren't ready, you can participate at home. And then the same thing will happen with our performances. If we do an in-person performance, we will make space for anyone who chose the virtual option to also be a part of that performance. So that's where we talk about inclusivity for our members and our patrons. All right, and the next slide. Outdoor venues. So this really just says that we know that outdoor venues are so far said to be safer than indoor venues. And so when we have the opportunity to be outdoors, we will take those, but that won't be on a consistent basis. All right, I think, so this is our last slide that I'm going to cover tonight. So this just is kind of a commitment from us to you. Let's create something unforgettable together. Let's all believe that our best days are still ahead of us. We believe that CFCArts will play a profound role as we recover and heal and continue to move forward through this really unprecedented time. We believe that our community needs the art we create, and we believe that you, our artists and our families, need the community that we create even more. So through those ways, we are going to do our best to bring you fall programs. So I don't know if we have any questions at this point, but maybe we should keep going, and we'll take questions at the end. So I'm going to turn it now over to Mr. Terrence Hunter to cover some more information. Terrence?
Thank you so much for that, Joshua. So next week via email, we will share that presentation that Joshua just went over. We will share that presentation with all of you via email, along with an update from Joshua. Following that, we are planning to host a town hall, which right now is tentatively scheduled for mid-August, though that may change. When we do announce our plans for in-person rehearsals, we will also let you know what you can expect from at each rehearsal, from check-in to check-out, the rehearsal itself. And when the time comes, we'll also let you know what you can expect from the performance experience. At the same time as our announcing of the return of in-person rehearsals or the launching of virtual-only options, we'll update our website as well as the registration processes. And I guess this last point, this last point is one of the most important. What we have laid out for you today is our plans as best as we know them today. But we have been and will continue to be very flexible in our approach to moving forward. And we are constantly monitoring the situation and we'll make adjustments to our timelines as necessary. And whenever we do that, we will make sure to provide updates to you as we are able as well. And so with that, I would like to turn it over to Leah, who will give us more specific information about our children and youth arts programs this fall.
Thanks so much, Terrence, and thank you, Joshua, for going over that slideshow. I am really encouraged by the initiatives that our whole organization has undertaken to ensure the safety of all of our members and the comfort of all of our members. So that will be no exception with our youth programs. The first thing I want to echo, and it's been said before, but I find it very important, is that all of our students will have an option to participate with us in the fall. We will be doing virtual programs. We will also be doing live programs because we know some people do better with one or the other. Some people have health concerns. Some people have, time concerns. Whatever your situation might be, we know everyone's is different right now. And we want you to be able to participate no matter if you're 3 years old or going to be a senior this year in high school. We want there to be an opportunity for you. So I'll talk first briefly about our musical ensembles, and then I'll talk a little bit about our theater program for the youth programs. So our musical ensembles, which normally is our children's and youth vocal ensemble and our young artists orchestra, are both going to look a little bit different this fall. What we are planning right now is for everyone to send in those placement auditions virtually. So as you guys know, for our Young Artists Orchestra, our auditions are just for placement. We accept all of our students in grades 6 through 12. That will not change. We want you to come join us. So we will have those auditions, but they will be virtual. And then we will place you in a small ensemble according to your instrumentation, your ability level, and your schedule, your conflicts and things like that. We will put you in a small ensemble and you'll rehearse with that ensemble from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. And that will culminate in a performance. We know those performances are really important to our families and students, and perform is the third of our mission words, connect, serve, perform. So we want to make sure that you are still gearing up for a performance and working on your musicianship and forming those communities at the same time. So we will put you guys in those small groups. So it'll be the Young Artists Orchestra's ensembles, and those will be geared up to a performance. And for our vocal ensembles, those children and youth vocal ensembles, those are usually audition. Again, usually there's a place for everyone in those ensembles, and you will send in those videos. We will place you in a small singing group, again, according to vocal type and things like that, your schedule, your ability level, where you feel comfortable, either virtual or live. And again, those will rehearse very similarly in those small groups from the beginning to the end of the season. However, our ensembles are a little different than our Young Artists Orchestra. Our YAO normally gears up for a concert. Our ensembles normally gear up for performances in the community. Now that's a little bit tricky right now because we like to perform for other, organizations, for galas, for parties, for big events, and those are not happening traditionally in the normal way right now. But never fear, we've gotten a lot of interest from our partners in virtual performances, or even things like outdoor socially distanced performances. So as those requests continue to come in from our partners, we will be using those vocal ensembles to perform for virtual galas, virtual gatherings, all sorts of things. Some of our students were lucky enough to have the opportunity to do that already this spring. So we'll definitely be continuing that. And so those ensembles won't have a traditional concert, but they will still continue to perform for our partners virtually, and potentially, if there is a safe way to do it in person. Usually we do some outdoor events anyway. And then our theater program. So our theater season will look a little bit different for our youth programs, but it will still be awesome. For our students who like to participate in our theater programs, this season we're looking at bifurcating. We're looking at doing one half of the season from, August or September through sometime in October. And then the other half of the season, likely, again, these dates are all tentative, from sometime in October to sometime in December. That'll allow us, because theater is the most collaborative live arts form, that'll allow us to assess the situation, make sure that we are following all the best practices. And if we need to pivot things halfway through the season, then to do that. The first half of our season, what we are hoping to do is to open submissions actually very soon for some new works in Theater for Young Audiences, so TYA. So we are going to be opening up those playwriting submissions both for adults and for our youth. We know we have some fantastic young playwrights in our company that are part of our CFCArts family, and we want them to maybe be able to have their performances produced. So we will be taking submissions very soon, probably through sometime in August. And we will choose plays depending on how many of our students audition and in their ages and ability levels and all that good stuff. And we will have a play festival. Some of those plays will be done hopefully live, following all those wonderful guidelines that Joshua laid out for us. And some of them will be done virtually, potentially over platforms like this that we are using right now. So we're really looking forward to serving all of our students in that way who are in grades 3 through 12. Our pre-K through second graders, they will be doing a showcase-driven program that will highlight just them and be specially designed just for them. So they will have some virtual options, some live options, potentially some daytime options for those of them that are staying home from school and wanting something to break up their school day. And then those will all culminate in a special showcase program performance just for our pre-K through second graders. So that is how we are looking at doing the first half of the season. For the second half of the youth theater season, we're hoping to do something really cool. We're hoping to do a combination virtual live performance that would be a new musical play. And that would incorporate everyone from our littlest all the way up to our oldest performers. There would be, again, auditions for that for roles, but everyone would have a place in that. And some roles would be virtual and incorporated into the production using really cool technology and things like that. And some of the roles would be live. So, honoring those 6 feet distances and things like that, bringing our kids onto stage in a safe way and creating something really unique and awesome for our audiences and families as well. So all of our youth programs will serve the same students that they have been serving. We are not going to take any opportunities away from anyone, and we are going to make sure that we offer live and virtual options for all of our families, all of our students of all ages, all gearing up for a performance, because we know that the important things about our youth programs are that we have a place to connect, make friends, bring families together, to serve by doing those performances we've mentioned, reaching out to our partners virtually and safely, and then perform. We want everybody to have a chance to take the stage, whether that's a virtual stage or a live stage.
Awesome, Leah. Such cool plans. I think I'm going to give up my job and come be in your program. Terrence, you want to join?
It would be very cool.
Yes, it would. So hopefully this is just giving you some general information tonight, mostly on safety. But this is something that we're talking about all the time, and it's something that is very important to us. And we will not open our in-person programming until we feel like we are ready and equipped to do these things safely. So that was the main thing we wanted you to know tonight. We wanted you to just hear from us. We are family, so we wanted to say hello. We wanted to make sure that you knew we were here to have conversations about your plans for the fall and where things are with each of your individual families. And we wanted to be able to answer any questions. So now is a time we're going to hang out for just a few seconds. If there are none, we will say goodnight. But if there are any questions at this point about the fall season, about our safety procedures, about what we're still doing virtually right now, we are happy to answer those questions. If for some reason you don't have them now, but they may pop up as you watch this a second time or as you go and look at those slides a little bit more, feel free to email us. And what email address, Leah, would you like everybody to use?
The best email address to use to reach our team is youth, YOUTH, @CFCArts.com. That's going to be the best way to reach us. And don't forget, I did want to mention this, we have a couple weeks left of our virtual summer camps. So we do have included in that some audition prep camps that might prepare your student for those virtual auditions coming up for this fall, whenever those will be announced. And so that email is the best way to get your student registered for those camps as well. So questions, camp registration, whatever you have something that you need to communicate to us, we are going to respond to you right away if you shoot us an email to that address.
Awesome. Well, I do want to say thank you to Leah and to Terrence for all the work that both of you have done to make sure that we have offerings for our kids from 3 days after we physically shut down. Every day through this, we've been able to connect in so many ways. So thank you to both of you for doing that. So email youth@cfcarts.com if you have any questions. Stay tuned for several things. One, the large slideshow that you saw will be coming out in a letter next week for me. And then we will be announcing the date for the organization-wide town hall where you will be invited to join in, where we will announce specific dates and plans for all of our programs. And then, of course, we'll be able to answer all of the questions that you have as we continue to move forward. So thank you for joining us. Families, thank you for sticking with us. The arts are important now more than ever. Have a great night. We'll see you soon.
Good night.